Welcome in Mathematics 9. This is Sir Michael, your teacher for this video. For this video, we will be talking about inverse variation. Our objective, identify the related quantities in real-life situation and solve for the inverse variation. So let us define inverse variation. Inverse variation is the opposite of direct variation, where, according to here, we have let x and y denote two quantities, where y varies inversely as x or y is inversely proportional to x if k is a non-zero constant or non-zero constant number. And we have our formula. Y is equivalent to K over X. So always remember, in inverse variation, we are involved with two quantities, particularly two objects that we are identifying the inverse relationship with each other. So now, let us identify the concept of inverse variation. Always remember, in inverse variation, we have two quantities. Particularly, we have x and we have y. And since we are given with two quantities, always remember, if x increases, therefore y have inverse relationship with x, so therefore y will be decreasing. Therefore, they are opposite to each other. Where if in case x decreases, therefore the opposite reaction of y will increase. So therefore, as you observe, they have the inverse relationship with each other. So later on in our examples, in identifying the unknown, we will be checking if our answers are having an inverse relationship with each other. So now, let us now move forward in identifying the K. In identifying K in inverse variation, always remember, let us read the word problem and identify if this word problem is inverse variation. Sabi dito, if y varies inversely as x and y is equivalent to 24 and x is equivalent to 6, find the value of the constant k. So from here, always remember, in our concept of inverse variation, let us always identify the word inverse or varies inversely. So if we are involving the word inverse or inversely, automatic our word problem is inverse variation. So now, since this is an inverse variation word problem, let us now identify K. Just like in our previous video, which is the direct variation, the process in identifying K is just the same as direct variation. Particularly, the process is such that first part is we need to identify the given, followed by is we need to identify the formula. And afterwards, the given data or the given of x value and y value will be substituted in our formula. Just like in our first step, our first process. First process natin is identifying the given. We have x and y. In our given, we have our word problem, sabi dito, y is equivalent to 24, where x is equivalent to 6. Such that after identifying the given, we can now write the formula. For the formula of our inverse variation, we have y is equivalent to k over x. Yeah, so this is our formula. So now, in our next step is this given x and y value will be substituted to our formula, such as we have y is equivalent to k over x. So solution, substituting the given to our formula, it will become 24 equals to k over x. K over 6. So from here, always remember, since we are given with 24 is equals to k over 6, we will be now recalling with the concept of cross multiplication. So the concept of cross multiplication, always remember, we are given with two fractions, example 1/2 and 1/4. If we will be applying cross multiplication, always remember the symbol between two fractions or between a fraction and a whole number, if ever equal sign ang gitna nun, automatically we can apply the process of cross multiplication where we are multiplying the numerator 1 to our denominator of our second fraction, which is 4, and the denominator of 2 multiplying it to the numerator of 1 in the other side of the equation. So that is cross multiplication. So now we will be now applying the cross multiplication in our solution. Particularly before we cross multiply, always remember a 24 or any whole number have a denominator of 1. Lagi may denominator yan ng 1. So therefore, after writing the denominator of 1, we can now cross multiply. 1 multiplied to x and 24 multiplied to 6. So let us go to here. So 24 multiplied to 6 will become 24 times 6 is equivalent to 1 multiplied by k. Next, afterwards, we will now apply or multiply the numbers. So 24 multiplied by 6, it will become 144 equals to 1 multiplied by k is just k. Interchanging them para mas maganda nating tignan, so it will become k equals to 144. Therefore, k is 144. Therefore, this is the value of k. Yan. So therefore, this is the entire process in identifying k in inverse variation. Now, since we already know the concept and the process in identifying the k or constant of variation, so let us now go to our second example. In our second example, you may now pause the video and try it by yourselves and identify the value of k in simplest form. And you may play the video once again if you want to check your answers, or if you want to check if your answer is correct, as well as if your solution is correct. In the process, in identifying k, don't make some shortcuts. Please follow the entire process in identifying k. So now, let us begin. Identifying k. First, let us write the given. Given, we have x and y. Here, sabi dito, if y varies inversely as x and y is equivalent to 12 when x is equivalent to 15, find the value of the constant or the k. So initially, we have x is equivalent to 15 and we have y is equivalent to 12. Therefore, this is our given. Now, afterwards, we will now write the formula. So for the formula, we have y is equivalent to k over x. Next, we have writing the solution. In the solution, we will be just substituting the given, the value of x, and the value of y to our formula. It will become it will become 12 equals to k over 15. Substituting the given to our formula. And after that, we will just write it imaginary 1 below 12 since 12 is a whole number. But if in case the y is a fraction, therefore we will just write it as a fraction. No need to write an imaginary 1. So we are writing imaginary 1 for us to just illustrate the complete process of identifying the k using the process of cross multiplication. So now, So now let us move to cross multiplication. So multiplying 1 to k and multiplying 12 to 15. It will become 12 multiplied by 15 equals to 1 multiplied by k. 12 times 15 is, we have 180 equals to 1 times k is k. Interchanging them, it will become k equals to 180. Therefore, this is our final answer. Now, please check. Are we have the same correct answer? Parehas po ba tayo ng sagot? If yes, so just comment in our comment section for your for feedback and comment that you get the correct answer for example number 2 in finding k. If not, go back to your solution and check kung saan po tayo nagkamali. Use a red ball pen and take note kung saan tayo nagkamali and write some description. Nagkamali ako dahil, because, etc., etc. Then the next idea, if we will be getting the next example, so please correct it. And for the next example, sana tama na po tayo. So, yeah. Now, so since we identified the value of k, so let us now apply k, finding k in finding the equation of variation. Just like the process of our direct variation, we will now identify the equation of variation. So according to here, if y varies inversely as x and y is equivalent to 51 when x is equivalent to 3, find the equation. The equation of variation involving with the inverse variation. So now, always remember the first step is we need to write the given. In identifying the equation, just like direct variation, we have the same process. The first step or the initial step is we need to identify the value of k. And the second one is we need to substitute the value of k to the formula. And that's it. That is the equation of variation. So now, let us now apply that process. So let us write it down. According to here, we have y is equivalent to 51 and x is equivalent to 3. We have x is equivalent to 3 and y is equivalent to 51. Next, let us write the formula. For our formula, we have y is equivalent to k over x. Next, substituting the given to our formula, it will become solution. We have y is 51 equals to k over 3, which is x. Writing the imaginary one for 51 for us to use the cross multiplication. So 51 times 3 and 1 times k. So therefore, let us go to our solution. It will become 51 times 3 equals to k multiplied by 1. K times 1 is k. Then 51 times 3 is, we have, ilan kaya? That's good. We have 153. Therefore, this is our k value. Now, let us now identify the equation of variation. In identifying the equation of variation, we just need to substitute the value of k to our formula. Just the value of k. Therefore, our final answer is we have y is equivalent to 153 over x. Therefore, this is our equation of variation in terms of our given. Given x is 3 and y is 51. Yeah, so that's good. So let us proceed with our next example. So for our next example, if you want to pause this video and try it by yourself in identifying the equation of variation, you may now proceed. Pause the video and afterwards, play it again and check if your answer in the value of k and the equation of variation are the same in our computation in this second example. Okay, so let us proceed. Identifying the equation of variation, let us identify the given. In given, according to our problem, we have if y varies inverse as x and y is 24 and x is equivalent to 6, find the equation. So here we have our x value, which is 6, and our y value is 24. X is equivalent to 6 and y is equivalent to 24. So from here, so we have writing the formula. So for the formula, we have y is equivalent to k over x. Substituting the given to our formula, it will become solution. We have y is 24 equals to k over x, which is 6. Now, so ang next step natin is writing an imaginary one for us to apply the cross multiplication. We have k multiplied by 1 and 24 multiplied by 6. So 24 multiplied by 6 is equivalent to k multiplied by 1. So k times 1 is k equals 2. So 24 times 6 is we have 144. Therefore, this is our k value. So now, let us now identify the equation of variation by just substituting the value of our k to our formula where we have y is equivalent to k over x. So therefore, writing it, equation of variation. So we have y is equivalent to 144 over x. Therefore, this is our answer for this example number 2. Just comment in our comment section down below if you get the answer for example number 2, finding the equation of variation. Now, let us proceed in our last concept in inverse variation, which is identifying the unknown, just like in our direct variation. So writing the equation of variation in terms of y is equivalent to k over x. So we forgot the over, k over x, where we have step number 1, that is our step number 1. Step number 2 is substitute known value and solve for the value of k. And step number 3 is replace k in the equation in step number 1 by the values obtained in step number 2. And lastly, solve for the desired value or solve the unknown. For step number 1, madali lang yan. We just write the given, write the formula. Step number 2 is we need to find the k value. And step number 3 is we need to create the equation of variation. And for step number 4 is identifying the unknown. So that's the process of inverse variation. So now let us proceed. So let us have our first example. Sabi dito, if y varies inversely as x and y is 1/3 when x is 18. Find y when x is equivalent to 2. In identifying the unknown, always remember the first idea in here, in solving here, is we need to write the given. In writing the given, since we're identifying the unknown, we will be having our first set of x sub 1 and y sub 1, and we will be having our second set of x sub 2 and y sub 2. Kung sino po yung unang nabanggit, siya po yung x at y natin. Kung sino yung pangalawang nabanggit, siya po yung x sub 2 and y sub 2. In here, our first set of x sub 1 and y sub 1 is we have x natin is 18 and y natin is 1/3. And lastly, for our second set of x and y, we have find y, which is the unknown, where x is equivalent to 2. So now let us solve for the y sub 2 or the unknown. So the next step is we need to write the formula. Our formula is we have y is equivalent to k over x. Next, for our solution, so always remember our first solution is identifying the value of k. In identifying the value of k is that we will be using the first set of given, the x sub 1 and the y sub 1. Substituting the values, we have y sub 1 is 1/3. We have x sub 1 is 8k over 18. Now, so as you observe, they are now the same. They are fractions. We can now proceed to cross multiply. So we have 3 times k and 1 times 18. So it will become 18 times 1 equals to 3 multiplied by k. 18 times 1 is just 18 equals to 3 multiplied by k. But in here, since we are looking for k, therefore we need to remove the number beside k such as 3. So therefore removing it, we need to divide both of them by 3. So 3 divided by 3, it will become k only. So punta tayo dito. It will become k equals to 18 divided by 3, it will become what? So 18 divided by 3 is, we have 6. Therefore, k is equivalent to 6. Since we identified the first idea, identifying k, so let us now go to our third step, which is the equation of variation. Substituting the k value to our formula. Laging tandaan na, si k lang ang sa-substitute natin in identifying the equation of variation. Substituting 6 to k, it will become y equals to 6 over x. Therefore, this is our equation of variation. Now, so our last step is identifying the unknown or the desired value. Since we are here, let us go to whiteboard. So identifying the unknown, given with y is equivalent to, ano yun? We have 6 over x for our equation of variation, where according to our problem, our second set of given is we have x sub 2 is equals to 2 and y sub 2 is the unknown. So let us write it down in our whiteboard. X sub 2 is 2 and y sub 2 is the unknown. So therefore, ang nangyari lang is we will be substituting our x sub 2, y sub 2 to our formula. So therefore, solving, it will become y is equivalent to 6 over 2, or simply y is equivalent to 6 divided by 2 is we have 3. Therefore, our final answer is y equals to 3. So writing it here, so let us just write it down. Our answer is y sub 2 is 3. So let us just check. X sub 1 to x sub 2 from 18 going to 2, it decreases. But in our y sub 1 is 1/3 going to 3, it increases. Therefore, y sub 2 is equals to 3 is our correct answer. Okay, so let us now start answering our example number 2. So in this second example, you may pause the video and answer it by yourself, and you may play it again and check if your answers are the same. Now, let us answer. So always remember, our first step is we need to write the given. So in writing the given, we will be given with our first set of x sub 1 and y sub 1, and we have x sub 2 and y sub 2. So identifying the given we have, according to here, if y varies inversely as x and x is equivalent to 4 when y is equivalent to 4 rather when x is equivalent to 8. So therefore, this is our first set of given. So we have y is 4, x is 8. Find y when x is equivalent to 1. So therefore, our second set of given we have x sub 2 is 1 and y sub 2 is the unknown. Next, formula. So our formula for inverse variation is we have y is equivalent to k over x. Solution. So for our solution, our initial step is we need to identify k by substituting the initial given of x and y. So therefore, substituting it, it will become y is 4 equals to k over 8. Since 4 is a whole number, let us just write over 1. Applying the cross multiplication, we have k times 1 and 4 times 8. It will become 4 multiplied by 8 equals to k multiplied by 1. So 4 times 8 is we have 32 equals to k times 1 is k. So let us just interchange it. It will become k is equivalent to 32. Therefore, k having our value of 32. So now, let us now identify the value of or the equation of variation. We have equation of variation. So in equation of variation, always remember just k, the value of k, only the value of k lang yung isa-substitute natin sa ating formula. It will become y equals to 32 over x. Therefore, this is our equation of variation. Now, identifying the unknown. Since identifying the unknown, using the second set of our given, we will be substituting it to our equation of variation. So it will become, since we have equation of variation, we have y is equivalent to 32 over x. So let us just go to our whiteboard para mas malaki po yung space natin. So unknown natin, given with the equation of variation, we have y is equivalent to 32 over x. And we have our x sub 2 is 1 and y sub 2 is missing. So substituting the given to our formula, it will become y is equivalent to 32 over 1, or simply y is equivalent to 32. Therefore, y is 32. 32 is our final answer. So now let us just check if our answer really the correct answer. So writing it down. So y is 32. So let's see. X sub 1 to x sub 2. So it decreases. Tama po ba? And checking in our y sub 1, going to y sub 2, it increases. Therefore, y sub 2 is equivalent to 32 is our correct and final answer. That's it. So ilang po ang i-discuss natin so far in this video. So thank you for listening, and please watch the other videos, particularly the inverse variation involving word problem.